The biology and anatomy of the deep sea gigantism. Why the deep sea breeds giants. Imagine you're swimming in the ocean, feeling small against the vast blue expanse. Now, picture yourself shrinking to the size of a pea, sinking deeper and deeper into the darkness. As you descend, strange creatures begin to appear, but they're not the size you'd expect. They're giants, dwarfing you like skyscrapers towering over ants. Welcome to the world of deep sea gigantism, where the impossible becomes reality. Our story begins with the colossal squid, a creature so large it was once thought to be a myth. Picture an eye the size of a dinner plate, staring at you from the gloom. This eye, larger than a human head, belongs to a beast that can grow up to 46 feet long, almost as long as a school bus. But why? Why do the depths of our oceans breed such enormous creatures? Today, we're diving deep into the biology and anatomy of deep sea gigantism. We'll explore why the crushing pressures and eternal darkness of the deep ocean have given rise to some of the most fascinating giants on our planet. So, grab your imaginary diving gear and let's plunge into this underwater world of wonder. Anatomy and physiology of deep sea giants. Imagine your body under the weight of 1,000 elephants. That's the kind of pressure deep sea creatures face every day. To survive, they developed some pretty cool tricks. Let's start with the giant isopod, a creature that looks like a beach ball-sized pill bug. Unlike humans who have a skeleton inside our bodies, the giant isopod wears its skeleton on the outside. This hard shell helps it withstand the crushing pressure of the deep sea, much like how a submarine's strong hull protects the people inside. Now, think about your lungs. When you dive into a pool, you feel pressure in your chest. Deep sea creatures don't have this problem because many of them don't have air-filled spaces in their bodies. Instead, they're filled with water or oil, which doesn't compress under pressure. The sperm whale, one of the deepest diving mammals, has special oil-filled sinuses that help it dive to incredible depths without being crushed. But without blood, in humans, high pressure can cause nitrogen bubbles to form in our blood, leading to a dangerous condition called the bends. Deep sea creatures have a solution for this too. Many of them, like the giant tube worm, have special proteins in their blood that help prevent these bubbles from forming. Research by Dr. Brad Siebel, a marine biologist at the University of South Florida, has shown that some deep sea creatures, like the Humboldt squid, can actually change the structure of their proteins to work better under high pressure. It's like they have a built-in pressure adapter. Evolutionary history of the deep sea giants. Now let's talk about how these giants came to be. Imagine playing hide and seek in a pitch-black room. It would be pretty easy to stay hidden, right? This is kind of what happened in the deep sea over millions of years. In the darkness of the deep ocean, being big has its perks. Larger animals can store more food, which is important in a place where meals are few and far between. They can also travel longer distances to find food or mates. It's like having a bigger gas tank in your car. You could go further without needing to refuel. Dr. Craig McLean, a marine biologist at the Louisiana University's Marine Consortium, has studied deep sea gigantism for years. He found that in many cases, deep sea animals are related to much smaller, shallow water creatures. Over time, the deep sea versions grew larger and larger. Take the giant oarfish, for example. This serpent-like fish can grow up to 36 feet long. That's longer than a school bus. But its shallow water cousins are much smaller, usually less than 6 feet long. It's like the oarfish put on a pair of magical grow-big shoes when it moved to the deep sea. Relatives of the deep sea giants. You might think these deep sea giants are one of a kind, but many of them have smaller relatives living closer to the surface. It's like having a family where one sibling grew super tall while the others stayed average height. Let's look at the giant squid. This monster of the deep can grow up to 43 feet long, but it has cousins, like the market squid, that are only about a foot long. Imagine if your cousin was as tall as a 4-story building while you were normal size. The colossal squid, another deep sea giant, is related to the tiny bobtail squid. The size difference between these two is like comparing an elephant to a mouse. Even the giant isopod we talked about earlier has tiny relatives. Most isopods are about the size of your thumbnail, but the giant isopod can grow as big as a football. It's like one branch of the family tree decided to supersize while the rest stayed small. Reproduction and breeding of the deep-sea giants. Now let's talk about how these giants make baby giants. Finding a mate in the vast, dark ocean is like trying to find a friend in a huge, dark playground without being able to call out. It's not easy. Many deep-sea creatures, like the anglerfish, have come up with clever solutions. The male anglerfish, which is much smaller than the female, actually attaches himself to the female and becomes a permanent part of her body. It's like having a boyfriend who's always with you, literally. The giant squid has a different approach. The male uses a special arm to pass a packet of sperm to the female, who can store it until she's ready to use it. It's like getting a package in the mail that you can open whenever you want. Dr. Edith Witter, a marine biologist and deep-sea explorer, has studied the mating habits of deep-sea creatures. She found that many of them use bioluminescence, the ability to produce light, to attract mates. It's like using a flashlight to signal your friends in a dark room. Habitat and distribution of the deep-sea giants. The deep sea is like a giant dark neighborhood where our giant friends live. But they're not evenly spread out. Some areas have more giants than others. The giant squid, for example, seems to prefer cooler waters. They've been found in all the world's oceans, but they're more common in places like the North Atlantic and the waters around New Zealand. It's like they have favorite vacation spots. The colossal squid, on the other hand, is only found in the Southern Ocean around Antarctica. It's like they've chosen to live in the world's biggest igloo. Giant isopods are found in most of the world's oceans, but they're most common in the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean Sea. They seem to like warm tropical waters, like underwater beach bums. Dr. Alan Jamieson, a marine biologist at Newcastle University, has studied the distribution of deep-sea creatures. He found that different species of giant deep-sea creatures often live at different depths. It's like they've divided up the ocean into different floors of an underwater apartment building. Feeding and hunting in the deep sea. Eating in the deep sea is not like going to a restaurant where you can choose what you want. It's more like playing a game of catch with your food in the dark, and the food is trying not to be caught. Many deep-sea giants are opportunistic eaters, which means they'll eat pretty much anything they can catch. The giant squid, for example, uses its long tentacles to grab fish and other squid that swim by. It's like having super long arms that can catch your dinner from far away. The colossal squid has an even cooler trick. Its tentacles are covered in sharp hooks that swivel, making it almost impossible for prey to escape once caught. Imagine if your fork could grab onto your food and never let go. Giant isopods are mostly scavengers, which means they eat whatever sinks to the bottom of the ocean. They're like underwater recyclers, cleaning up the leftovers from the ocean above. Dr. Bruce Robison, a marine biologist at the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute, has studied feeding habits of deep-sea creatures. He found that many deep-sea giants can go for long periods without food. The giant isopod, for example, can survive for up to 5 years without eating. That's like you going without food for half a year. Deep Sea Gigantism inspiration for technology and science. The deep sea giants aren't just cool to look at. They're also inspiring scientists and engineers to create new technologies. Remember how we talked about the giant isopod's strong shell? Scientists are studying these creatures to design better deep-sea submarines. It's like they're using nature's blueprints to build our underwater exploration vehicles. The colossal squid's swiveling hooks have inspired engineers to create new types of gripping tools. Imagine having a robot hand that could grab things as securely as a colossal squid grabs its prey. Even the way deep-sea creatures move through water is inspiring new designs. The giant squid's way of jet propulsion, squirting water to move, has given engineers ideas for new types of underwater propulsion systems. It's like they're learning how to swim from the masters of the deep. Dr. Kakeni Katija, a bioengineer at the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute, studies how deep-sea creatures move and is using this knowledge to design new types of underwater robots. She's like a student learning from the best swimmers in the ocean. Deep Sea Gigantism ongoing research and discoveries. Even though we've learned a lot about deep-sea giants, there's still so much we don't know. It's like we've only read the first chapter of a very long and exciting book. Scientists are constantly making new discoveries. In 2020, researchers from the Schmidt Ocean Institute discovered a new species of giant jellyfish off the coast of Western Australia. This jellyfish is about 5 feet wide. That's probably taller than you.